Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I am going to be reviewing, testing, doing a full-on wear test, swatching all of the shades of the new Revolution Conceal and Define foundation. I feel like this has been a long time coming because since the Conceal and Define concealer came out, everybody lost their minds over that, like including that did well in America as well as the UK, and obviously Revolution is a UK brand, and the fact that people like Jeffree Star and I don't know, just a lot of big American YouTubers really liked the concealer. I feel like since then everyone was like, do a foundation. So that's what they've done. They've come out with a foundation. It's coming out on Wednesday, I believe, so I think my review is going to be going up on Tuesday as you're watching this, because if you aren't aware, this week I'm doing Drugstore week on my channel, which I'm basically doing a video Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Friday. No, I got the days in the wrong order. Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Am I okay? Do I know my days of the week anymore? I don't even know. Monday to Friday, I'm doing a video every day using new Drugstore makeup. I know that quite a lot of people have done Drugstore week before, and obviously quite a lot of people do weekly kind of series, things like this. I'm not 100% sure who was the original person to ever start this kind of thing. I know that Fleur de Force did a Drugstore week about 2 years ago. Emma's Rectangle did Drugstore week like last year, I'm pretty sure. I've seen other people do it before, but I thought it would be fun to do it on my channel. So this is the Conceal and Define foundation right here. It comes in a glass frosted packaging, and it's pretty much just a giant version of the original Conceal and Define concealer, which looks like this. I think they look really cute together. It's like a little family. Also as well, they have launched the super size version of the Conceal and Define concealer, so this one has got more product in it, and it's got slightly bigger packaging as well, and it's got a bigger doe foot too, and like a longer wand. So this is what the super size one looks like, and then the original Conceal and Define looks like this. So I know that a lot of people were complaining that there wasn't enough product in the Conceal and Define concealer, so they've made it bigger, which is great, and they still have like all the same shades and everything. So this foundation is going to be £9, I believe, and it comes in 24 different shades, which I think for a drugstore foundation is so good. And what I don't really get is, if a drugstore foundation can do a foundation, I've said foundation too many times, if a drugstore company can do a foundation for £9 and have 24 shades, I don't really understand why other like higher end brands can't make foundation shades in a wider variety of shades. Like the lighter shade is F0.5, the darker shade is F18. I will just insert quickly the swatches on my arm so you can see, you know, all the different shades and everything. And they do all match up with the concealers as well. To be fair, the packaging does look nice. It's this like frosted glass, and I feel like they did it in glass to make it feel look more luxurious and stuff. But for me, because I travel a lot and I'm like always carrying my makeup like on my arms or on my back or like in a suitcase or something, I quite like having a plastic bottle, but that's just completely personal preference. It does definitely feel more luxurious because it's quite heavy. But you get 23 ml of product in here, which is kind of a bit less than usual. With a standard foundation, it's around like 30 ml, so you get like 7 ml less of product with this. And the way that this applies is with a doe foot applicator. It's got a giant chubby doe foot, which is pretty much like a dupe of the Tarte foundation that they came out with, and at some point I do want to do like a half and half comparison of this one versus the Tarte one. See, I do quite like that it has a doe foot. I know that not everyone is going to be okay with this, because people say that it's like unsanitary or whatever to just paint this onto your face, but then you do the exact same with concealer, so I don't really see like what the difference is. But I guess what you could do if you didn't want to just apply this straight on your face is scrape some of it off, like twirl it on the back of your hand and get some on your hand or whatever. But yeah, that is the packaging. The shade that I wear at the moment is F2. And then in the concealer, I either use F1 or F2. To be honest, they're very, very kind of similar shades. But I think for the concealer, just for, I don't know, a bit of difference, I'll probably go for C1. Oh yeah, it's confusing. I feel like I just said F2, F1, C1, whatever. The concealer's shades begin with a C, the foundation shades begin with an F, but that just stands for like concealer and foundation. So I'm going to be applying this with a sponge. This is actually one of the Revolution sponges, because like parts of this video are going into a video that I'm doing on their channel as well. So I'm using one of their sponges today, but I do actually quite like this sponge. It's not bad. Then for a bit of natural contouring, obviously you could go with a darker shade if you wanted it to be more intense, but because I'm not that used to cream contouring, I'm going to use the shade F10 to do my contour with, or kind of like contour bronzing, because it's more of a warm tone shade. So I'm just kind of doing stripes. just spilled on my leg. Okay, so I'm then just using the sponge to blend it out. And as you can see, it's got really, really nice coverage. I really love the finish of this foundation. It's kind of like a semi-matte finish, which, as you guys know, I love a bit of semi-matte. So as you can see, that pretty much covered everything. It's definitely got really, really nice coverage. So this is what it looks like with no powder or anything. As you can see, it's got a tiny bit of shine, but it's not dewy or anything. I would definitely say it's verging on matte, and it's kind of like a satiny, semi-matte sort of finish, but I think it looks really nice. Like, to be honest, I can't speak for somebody who has dry skin because I personally don't have that, but there definitely will be people on YouTube that are testing this that do have dry skin, so maybe look out for those reviews. My friend Kami, I think, has got much drier skin than me, and he's reviewed it, so go have a look at his channel. It's just Kami MUA if you want to see what he thinks of it. Because it is full coverage, it's definitely not a natural looking foundation. Like, you can tell that you have foundation on your skin, if that makes sense. But then I feel like if you wanted something that was natural looking, you're not going to go for a foundation that says full coverage. And then just taking the concealer in C1, this is the super size concealer, and I'm going to apply this under my eyes. And I'll put a little bit on my nose, even though I don't really need it because it's kind of pretty much covered, and it's pretty much covered this blemish down here, but I'm just going to put a little bit extra on. So just before I powder my skin, I'm going to use a bit of the shade F10 to do a bit of contouring slash bronzing on my face. And as you guys know, I'm not the best at this, so please don't judge me. That actually looks really natural. I mean, to be fair, this colour isn't too dark, so I feel like it just blends into the other shade really nicely. I feel like that's actually a really nice kind of natural cream bronzy sort of colour for me, but then to be honest, I just prefer powders. And because it's the same formula as the foundation, obviously they're both the foundations, they blend together really, really nicely, which is good. By the way, the time is 1:30, so I will come back in a few hours to check in. So I'm just going to powder my face and then go ahead and do the rest of my makeup, and then I will be checking back in throughout the day. So again, this is what everything is looking like without powder. Let me just turn the brightness down a little bit. Yeah, okay, hopefully you can kind of see the finish of it. It looks really nice so far, so I just need to powder my face and like do the rest of my makeup and see what we're thinking. So I did just powder my face, but one thing I quickly want to say before I go on with the video, if you guys are new to my channel, then you won't know that I have very deep set smile lines anyway. Like, even without makeup you can still see them, so by the end of the day, literally with every foundation, it will sink into my smile lines. It's just a given, but that's just my face. I sometimes get comments on my foundation videos like, whoa, that foundation sucks, it really sank into her smile lines, but that is just how my face works. Like, I'm sure after about 2 minutes it will sink into my smile lines, but also as well, I've got this ligament that goes like across my face, which by the end of the day when my skin gets oily is a lot more obvious. That happens with every foundation as well, so just a heads up. So just a little update, I've got my retainer back in because I keep forgetting that I'm supposed to be wearing it for like the next 2 weeks, like permanently, but I did my eyebrows and nothing else. I've just been editing all of this time. It's now 5:30, so the foundation has been on for 4 hours, and I'm about to film another video, but I thought I'd just do a check-in already. It hasn't really changed much, like, at all. It still looks pretty much the same as it did when I first put it on. As I predicted, it is starting to sink into my smile lines a little bit, and also on my chin as well. Wait, let me get a bit closer. On my chin as well, I don't really know how well you can see here. It's kind of gone a bit, I don't know how to explain it, but like you can see my pores, if that makes sense. Hi guys, so I'm back again. This time I've obviously got a bit more makeup on than I did before. I just filmed another video. This eyeshadow look and everything and the lipstick is going to be in another video, which might be tomorrow or Thursday. I haven't touched it up or anything. The one slight issue that I mistake that I made is basically I had it on for 4 hours and I hadn't filmed this look right now. I just filmed this eyeshadow look where I did highlighter and bronzer and stuff like that. I went to put highlighter on my nose, but because my nose had started to go a tiny bit oily, like literally the smallest amount, you could barely see that it was oily, but it was just like a little bit. As I added the highlighter on, it kind of like rubbed the bit of oil off my nose, so I have a tiny bit here which is kind of missing and it looks a bit dodgy. And also as well, because I'm getting the tiniest bit oily around here, This eyeshadow, just a spoiler, it had a little bit of fallout, and so it's kind of all stuck in this area. And obviously normally when I'm doing my eyeshadow, because I've just done my foundation, it's completely matte, but because I had the tiniest bit of oil, the fallout was like stuck to it, and so it kind of looks a bit funny around there. But like if I hadn't have done that before I did that, it was actually looking really nice. My forehead is still completely matte. Obviously I haven't powdered or anything, and what you can see here, this is my highlight. I went a bit overboard as usual. Yeah, I mean, so far it's looking really nice, but yeah, like I said, it has sunk into my smile lines as expected, and a little bit on my chin as well. It's starting to go like a little bit, kind of emphasizing my pores a bit on my chin. And then I'm just really annoyed that this area around my nose has got all like fallout in it now, because it was looking okay, but I'll give you a close-up anyway. So as you can see, my forehead is still like completely matte and smooth looking. This bit of my chin is going a little bit patchy, and yeah, it's sunk into my smile lines, and those lines that I was talking about earlier, like the ligaments in my face that get worse throughout the day, you can kind of see them a bit as well. But I mean, for the most part, I feel like for 5 hours with no powdering, it looks pretty good. So I'll check back in with you in a couple of hours. So it's now been 7 hours. My lipstick has come off because I just went to eat my dinner, but in the past like hour or so, there hasn't been too much change. It's starting to get a little bit more oily around my nose and kind of like break up a bit around my nose a bit, but I'm very impressed with how smooth and completely matte my forehead is. I'm thinking, like, does my forehead get oily anymore, or is it this foundation? Like, I don't know, but I mean, it is definitely starting to break up a bit, like around my smile lines and around my nose and around my chin and stuff, because I was like eating a nectarine earlier and I feel like it kind of like wiped off a bit of my chin. But I mean, it looks pretty good still. It's been on for 7 hours, no touch-ups or anything like that. So here is like a little bit of a closer view. You can kind of see that it is starting to go a bit funny, like around my nose and into my smile lines and stuff, but like the rest of my face looks pretty good. So it's now been 9.5 hours. It's like 11:10, so it's almost been 10 hours that I've had this foundation on my face. I would say, like, for the fact that it's been 10 hours and I haven't touched up or anything, it's still looking pretty good. On my forehead especially, like, it doesn't seem to have really got oily much at all. Obviously, as you can see, like I said earlier, it's kind of got more oily in this area, and the areas that I tend to get worse are like directly around my nose, kind of in this section here, and then on my nose, and then a little bit on my chin as well. Oh, I have some eyeshadow like fall out here. So this is the oiliness situation around my nose, and you can see there like the little bit that rubbed off when I added my highlighter earlier, but that was just my mistake. I should have done my makeup sooner. It's definitely sunk in to my smile lines, and then this is what my chin is looking like. You can see it's kind of broken up a little bit just around here. But yeah, my forehead is looking really smooth. That hasn't really changed much at all. And I think, considering the fact this has been on my face for 10 hours with no powder, no touch-ups whatsoever, I do think it looks pretty good. I'll have to try it a bit more and let you guys know what I think. But I mean, so far I'm impressed with it. I think the fact that it's £9, it had really good coverage. I really like the finish of it and everything. Yeah, I think it's a really good foundation. So yeah, I will link them down below if you guys want to shop them when they're out. So yeah, that is it from me. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful if you guys are thinking of buying this foundation. Question of the day comes from Emma Thomas, and she said, what's your favourite eyebrow brush? I really need to stop using the tiny ones that come in eyebrow kits, haha. My favourite eyebrow brush is actually the Benefit one. I can't remember if I've spoken about this on my channel before, but this is honestly the best eyebrow brush that I've used. I also really like the one that comes in the iconic like brush set, but obviously I know this comes in a set, whereas I think they sell the Benefit one individually. It's a very dense, very skinny little brush, so it's just really good for like getting a precise eyebrow, and it's also got a spoolie on the end. I'm not too sure how much this is, but honestly I think this is definitely the best brow brush that I've ever used. I find it works especially well with their eyebrow powder, because when I tried using this brush with the Benefit eyebrow powder, I feel like it didn't pick up that much product, but because this is so dense and like stiff, it picks up a lot of product, and it also works really well for eyebrow pomades as well. It's just all round a really good brush. So yeah, I'm hoping they sell it separately. If they do, I'll try and link it down below. Anyway, I'm going to go take this off now because it's 11:15. Bye!